You ever find yourself standing in a moment you know is going to split your life into a before and an after? Yeah, that's where it started for me. And I wasn't even supposed to be the main character in this story, just some guy out jogging down Birch Lane at 6 a.m., sweating through a faded Marines t-shirt, letting the rhythm of my breath drown out the rest of the world. But that morning, something stopped me dead at the old bus stop on the corner. There she was, a little girl, couldn't be more than 8, pink coat zipped to her chin, standing alone, still as a statue, clutching her backpack like it was a life vest on a sinking ship. And I swear, she looked right through me. I'd seen that kind of fear before, overseas and in the eyes of fresh recruits, but never on a kid this small. I knelt down, trying not to scare her. My voice went soft. "Hey, you all right?" She barely turned, her lips pale, hands shaking, and whispered those 5 words that hooked me for good. "I don't want to get on." I caught the stain on her pants, not rain, but shame, and it about broke me in half. No tears, just that hollow way she curled up, as if she wished she could vanish right there. Her name was Ellie. Quiet name for a quiet kid, and when that old yellow bus screeched up, she flinched like she'd been struck. Didn't wave, didn't speak, just pointed at the bus with all the dread in the world, then climbed on, slow as funeral steps. She looked back, once not begging for rescue, just asking someone to see, really see, that something was dead wrong. I watched that bus swallow her up and drive off through the mist, and I stood there with my fists clenched, chest tight, feeling like I just failed some test I didn't even know I was taking. Back in my apartment, TV muttering about wildfires, I just sat there, replaying that look in my head, the way you replay regrets when sleep won't come. I'd seen those eyes before Afghanistan. Night before a bad mission, kid clutching his rifle and lying to me, "I'm good, Sergeant," when I knew he was scared out of his mind. Nobody stopped it, so everyone suffered. That morning, I realized those haunted eyes belonged to Ellie now. And if I let this pass, I was as guilty as every bystander before me. So the next day, I was there again, pretending to jog, watching from a distance as Ellie waited alone, backpack hugged to her chest. When the bus rolled up, I saw the boy in the black jacket, probably 11, blank stare that made your skin crawl. He kicked her backpack, just hard enough to remind her who was in charge. She didn't react, just climbed on, silent as ever. I type a note in my phone, black jacket, 11, bus 45, her the name Kyle. Didn't mean much yet, but it was a start. If nobody paid attention today, how much worse would tomorrow get? That night, I scrolled through old news school bus bullying, stories nobody wanted to remember. War doesn't only happen far away. For kids like Ellie, the battle's on the bus, and if no one stands up, they lose something you can never get back, the belief you're worth protecting. The next morning, folder in hand, fake temporary guardian, papers ready, I walked into Elkwood Elementary. "I'm here to update enrollment for my niece, Ellie Dawson." Wasn't true, but nobody questioned a man who sounded like he belonged. I met the principal, Linda Reyes, all business, polite but guarded. I asked if there were any issues with the older kids or the bus. She gave me the official line: "All school activities are closely monitored, no incidents. Safety is our top priority." I nodded, but I wasn't buying it. If the front door was locked, I'd find a window. I caught sight of a teacher, Brooke, Ainsley, red hair, kind face, 2nd grade. I asked her about Ellie. Brooke hesitated, then confessed Ellie had gone quiet, drawings scribbled out, a shoe print on her backpack. She didn't know who Ellie sat near on the bus, but things weren't like they used to be. At noon, I watched from the trees as the bus pulled in. Ellie was last off. Kyle, in that black hoodie, leaned in and whispered something. Ellie flinched like she'd been slapped. Nobody saw, nobody cared, just another secret lost in the noise. That night, in her tiny apartment, Ellie's mom, Rachel, finally noticed. Cold lasagna in the microwave, Ellie silent at dinner. Rachel found wet underwear hidden in the laundry, 2nd time in 2 weeks. She wanted to believe it was just stress, but when Ellie woke up screaming, "Don't make me sit next to him," Rachel's denial shattered. She brought Ellie to the bus stop early, planning to call out of work, but couldn't bring herself to say the words, what if it was just nerves? What if seeing a doctor made it worse? When the bus came, I approached Rachel, introduced myself, said what I'd seen, the kicks, the fear, the way Ellie shrank from the bus. I've seen scare before. Your daughter looks like she's about to explode from the inside." Rachel's face went slack. Everything she'd been ignoring made sense. That night, she finally sat beside Ellie and promised to listen, no more pretending. She found a crumpled note in Ellie's pocket, a drawing of a little girl surrounded by faceless giants, and the words, "No one believes me." Next morning, Rachel knocked on my door, papers in hand. "Will you come with me?" she asked. I nodded this time. She wasn't alone. We sat in the principal's office. The place reeked of bleach and bureaucracy. Rachel laid it out: bedwetting, nightmares, fear. Linda denied any reports, claimed everything was fine. I pushed, "If you need the truth, pull the security footage." A tense silence. Then Linda called for the bus tapes. We watched, frame by grainy frame. There was Ellie getting trip-kicked, her backpack tossed 3 times in a week. Nobody intervened. Not the driver, not the kids. Rachel broke down sobbing. Linda ordered an investigation, promised action. Brooke, the teacher, swore she'd stay by Ellie's side. But I knew this was just the start. That afternoon, Kyle's parents showed up in full armor suits, outrage and denial. "Our sons never hurt anyone. Must be a misunderstanding." Other parents mumbled, "Kids will be kids, right?" I'd had enough. Stood up and said, "A child is hurting, and all you care about is whose kid's more believable? What does that child need right now?" Silence. Then, in a twist I never saw coming, a kid named Benji came to Brooke after school and confessed. Kyle whispered threats, hit Ellie, said, "If you snitch, your mom will have an accident." Benji wrote it down, hands shaking but brave. His report was joined by Jasmine, another girl who finally spoke up. "Kyle pushed me too." Suddenly, the truth was too big to ignore. In the next meeting, their lawyer tried to downplay it. No severe harm, just childish mistakes. I took out a photo of my son, Ethan, told them how Ethan died because adults ignored the warning signs, let the quiet slide into despair. Ethan's note: "If I stop here, nobody has to feel awkward anymore." I said, "Keeping quiet doesn't keep peace, it just buries pain." Linda suspended Kyle, apologized publicly to Ellie, promised change. Rachel cried, not with grief, but relief for the first time. Someone saw her child. Afterward, Elkwood Elementary felt different. Kindness Week banners, chalk drawings on the pavement, new friends sitting with Ellie on the bus. Even Kyle left a note. Awkward but honest. "I'm sorry. I saw you as weak, but the truth is I was." Ellie started choosing her own seat, hands a little steadier, her drawings a little brighter. On the last day, at the school assembly, Principal Linda called me on stage, honoring someone who isn't a teacher or student, but who couldn't just walk by. I told them, "There's a battlefield right here, every day, and silence is the most dangerous weapon." Ellie stood up, hugged me, and for the first time spoke loud. "I'm still scared, but now I know being scared doesn't mean I have to stay silent." Applause rippled through the crowd, not for me, but for her. So here's my question for you. What do you do when you see a child hiding their hurt, look away, or step in? If you were that teacher, that parent, that bystander, would you stand up or let the silence win? I'd love to hear your thoughts below, whether you've lived through something like this or just want to say how your day's going. Because sometimes all it takes is one person willing to listen, and that can change everything.